What up, people? It's Nick Ops here, and today we're going to be talking about Tekken 8. Now, I got some random Eddie gameplay in the background from a high level player that's ranking the character up because this character just came out, and I'm pretty sure people wanted to see some Eddie. I'm personally not a big fan of the character, but I know a lot of people might be, so there you go. So let's get into the first topic about this video, and that is the best Tekken 7 player does not like Tekken 8. And he goes by the name Arsenal Ash. I made a video on him actually talking about something else he said on the game, and it just seems like he's really not enjoying this game. And people are starting to call him out on certain things, and I just want to talk about how I feel about what he thinks because the best player of the previous game saying they don't like it or expressing their disdain for the game means something, but it might not mean what a lot of people think it means. So let's read what he said right here. He said, I just can't wait to win Evo Japan or any other big tournament and tweet that this game is so bad right now. So, in case you didn't know, there was a recent Tekken 8 tournament, and Arslan here, he got 33rd. That's the place he ended up getting. He ended up getting that place in the game, in the tournament, and people were tweeting about it and everything because they were like, what the heck? The best Tekken player, in the last game getting 33rd in the tournament? That's kind of crazy. And it is to go from being a four-time Evo champion to not even breaking top 8 in a tournament. So that does mean something, but like I said, it might not mean what people think it means. So we see this happen all the time in games. And if you're just from the Tekken community and you don't really play the other games like that, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But this happens pretty often in other games to where, the new era comes along in the game and the old era either has to catch up or they just end up falling off. So the people either do, when it comes to doing that, the best players from the previous games, they either choose to, I'm going to adjust, get used to this game, even though I might not like the way it plays because this is just what I play. This is just, the game I play. And a lot of fighting game players that are like the very top percent of the game, they do that. Like they won't really go try other games or play other things because they're just like, and this is my game. I'm already too comfortable with it. So they either end up adjusting to the game or just end up complaining about it and, fall off. That's the only two things that end up happening. And I think with Arslan here in this game, he might just be taken to the game slower than, most people because it is a brand new game with brand new mechanics. Yes, legacy matters to a certain extent in games, but there's always going to be new players that come along, new stuff to figure out, and you're going to have an adjustment period. And honestly, right now, the game is fresh. So if he needs some time to adjust and get the game down, nobody's faulting him for that. But people are saying that, he might have, an ego problem because, now that he looks human in the game, he's not taking it very well. And to that, all I have to say is I'm kind of 50-50 on that because when you go from dominating a game to getting like 30, around 30, that is gonna, hit home. And there's nothing wrong with somebody wanting to get back to the level they were. There's nothing wrong with somebody being competitive. He's not, if we look at the tweet again, he's not putting other players down or anything like that. He just doesn't like the game. The man is allowed to say he well, I'm not going to say he doesn't like it. He thinks the game is bad. He's allowed to say that he thinks the game is not good right now. We just had an update today So, or wait, actually, like a little yesterday. So the game is changed now from this tweet, but he's completely, warranted for expressing how he feels on the game just because he he might be salty, he might be mad, whatever it is, he has a right to express how he feels. See, my problem with pro player opinions when it comes to people always want to backtrack on pro player opinions and talk about pro player opinions when it fits their narrative. Because I bet if Arsenal was saying this game is just freaking amazing, he loves it, there would be nobody saying anything. Nobody saying anything about it. But since, he doesn't like it, and the Tekken community is so overprotective of this game. The Tekken community is just overprotective of their game in general. I have, been in a lot of fighting game communities, and I am, newer to the Tekken scene and everything. But I can say 100% the Tekken community is a very, very defensive community that does not really take criticism on their game very well. So much to the point where the best Tekken player from the last game, he's saying something about the game, how he doesn't like it. And not even the best player from the last game can have an opinion without everybody just coming for his neck. Like, it's not that deep. The Tekken community just needs to learn to calm down. Like, I don't think the Tekken community realized that with how everyone's been complaining about this game, the Tekken community is the norm now. Like I stated in my last video about how I feel, how the Tekken community acts, they acted like, they were this different tier in fighting games. Their game was just so untouchable and they were this fine dining of gaming. But your game has been, modernized now. So y'all are a part of the regular FGC rotation, in my opinion. So we're going to go on to the second tweet I saw. Like I said, there are people in the thread coming for him, and this is one of the comments that was like above. He said, now, his response to that tweet, he said, that's pretty unhumble. You're great, Arslan, and I respect you, but this is a gross look. Question: how many top 5 players in Tekken Tag stayed top in Tekken 4? How many elite players in Tekken 5 converted to staying top in 6? It's rare and difficult to stay relevant. Even Daigo. Now, he went on to say even Daigo struggled in Street Fighter 5, which he did. Now, what I have to say to this tweet right here, because this is also very important, like the statement I was making before, nothing, like I said, nothing against the Tekken community. I think Tekken 8 is a great game. I think it is number 2 out of the big 3. I think it's a good game, only slightly better than Mortal Kombat 1. But I feel like a lot of Tekken players, I don't know what to call them, the people, the Tekken stands, they feel like the game is much better than it is. But nobody can judge the game fairly right now. The game is still pretty new. So what this person is saying right here, this is the point I was making before. You're talking about it's pretty unhumble, this is a gross look or whatever. The man is allowed to say how he feels about the game. I don't know why everybody wants everybody with a position of influence to be this kumbaya, woosah. Oh, I gotta just be a humble monk. It's okay. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. And if the best player in the world, a 4-time Evo champion, wants to express he doesn't like the game and, it's unhumble that he doesn't like it, that makes no sense. He's not putting other people down. He's not talking crap about other players. He's expressing his disdain for the game. That is all he's doing. So to say it's unhumble and gross because the game is pissing him off looks really dumb, in my opinion. And this is not me offending you. I'm not calling you dumb. I'm saying it looks really dumb to, call somebody, saying they are having a gross look and everything and trying to justify it. Now, your justification of it, where you were like, how many top 5 players in all the other Tekken games? This happens, like I said at the beginning of the video, with almost every fighting game, with the whole new era and the old era and everything. But what I have to say to that is I don't think it's really fair to judge old games like the new era because this is a whole nother video that I can get into, but I'll just express my take on it quickly right now. Games are definitely more competitive now than they were in the past. I know a lot of old heads might not accept that, but I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Back then, you didn't have access to the world. Okay, now with this online being the future and everything, and a lot of people becoming good players online, and you can have access to almost anybody at the snap of your fingers. Fighting games are way more competitive than back in the day when it was like a smaller group of people and less competition. It just is what it is. The longer fighting games go on and the more popular the scene gets, the more competitive the scene is going to get. And a lot of people from the past can not accept that, but it just is what it is. Now when you reach a top level and you become one of those very top players, it is easier for them to stay at the top, in my opinion, if they really try hard enough because they have access to a lot of top players because of the resume that they put in. So they have access to get better. The perfect example of who this person was talking about, Daigo. Daigo is somebody who struggled a lot in Street Fighter V. And if you don't know who Daigo is, he's basically the grandfather of the FGC. He basically kick-started what the FGC is with his amazing Evo moment. Just look up the Daigo parry. It's literally like the grandfather of the FGC. And he he is what this person wanted, wanted Arslan to act like. He wanted him to act like Daigo, all humble and everything. But Daigo was getting washed in Street Fighter V. I remember Street Fighter V was, when I was getting into Street Fighter V was like my first one. And when I was playing it and everything, all my friends were telling me, look out for this amazing player, Daigo. Look out for him. He's going to do numbers. He's going to go crazy in this game. And then, a couple months passed, and I'm like, yeah, are y'all sure this was the best Street Fighter 4 player? Are y'all sure? Because he's getting washed in this game. Now, granted, he was trying to make his beloved low tier Ryu work. But even when Ryu was top tier when the game first came out, he still was not doing good. But he was still trying to make Ryu work after the nerfs. And Daigo was getting washed in the game very badly. But Daigo did not go on Twitter and complain about the game. Now, he did have his disdain towards the game or whatever, but he wasn't, just full on thrashing the game. That's just not his nature. And I feel like a lot of people like that. And I respect that because he did get washed at the beginning of the game, but he switched his characters. He switched over to Guile and started doing really good after a couple of months and found his stride in the game. So it took him like 2-3 years for him to find his stride in the game, but he never quit and he never gave up. And even though the new generation is harder to like navigate in terms of competition because it is harder, he still had all those connections and everything to play all the top players and get better, and he did. So that might be the route that a lot of other top players, when a new fresh game comes out, has to take. That might be the route that Arslan has to take as well, but it can genuinely be annoying if you don't like the game. That's all that I'm saying about it. So the last tweet that I want to talk about that was in the thread, he said if Tekken 8 is easy and helping new players to come enjoy and win against pro players, then old players should be okay with this and try to learn how to beat them instead of being salty. Tekken 8 is a great game and attracting more audience that will expand community. There's a lot of typos here. So it is good in this way. There's so many typos here, but you get what he's saying. Just enjoy the game. We cannot win every time. So what he's basically saying right here, and a lot of people like this tweet, was basically he was putting it into a different perspective. He's like, well, it's getting new people in the game. The the pro players shouldn't whine. They should try to catch up and, enjoy the game that way. And while I do agree a little bit with what he's saying, I don't completely agree because he's like, well, just enjoy the game. We can not win every time. Don't compare your experiences as a. Now, I don't know what his level of play is in this game, but he's definitely seems like he's talking as a casual player, which is fine. You are not going to go through the same struggles as a top player. So he's speaking like he knows about their struggles, but he sounds like he just wants to play the game casually, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But people fail to look at other people's point of view. If you go from this 4-time Evo champion and then you're struggling to break top 8, of course the man's going to be salty. There's nothing wrong with people being passionate about their game or showing emotion. I don't know what's with this soft, kumbaya persona that everybody wants top players to have. They're allowed to feel. They're allowed to talk about how they feel about the game. Heck, one of the best Street Fighter 6 players, Mena RD, was whining about Street Fighter 6, but he adjusted and still played it. Now, I think he was very wrong. Mena RD was talking about Street Fighter 6 as a scrubby game and, this, that, and the other, and he feels like it's very scrubby, which you're allowed to think that, but Mena RD is easily plays like one of the most high level advanced scrubs I've ever seen. Now, this is not me talking crap about him. This is just true. He has a very disrespectful scrubby playstyle. So for him to call the game scrubby is, crazy. But that's a side note. Back to this comment. I get what he's trying to say. And like I said before, we can't judge if Tekken 8 is a good game right now. It's still too early. And it is helping new players. And that I do think that's a really good thing. But like I was saying at the beginning of the video, the future of fighting games is basically what Tekken has morphed this game into. It's like every other fighting game that's popping now. Aggression, 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 aggression. Like I said in my last video. So Arsenal in here is going to have to adjust to how to deal with that. And I don't feel like everybody coming at him so harshly is fair. Yes, he's obviously salty. Yes, he has, a problem with how the game plays right now. And yes, he might be irritated, but the man is allowed to feel. He doesn't need to be a robot or be, have maxed out humbleness like Daigo for, his opinion to be taken in a certain type of light. But that's all I have to say about it. Let me know what you feel in the comment section below and how you think the game plays right now. Like I said, I personally don't have a problem with Tekken 8 at all. I think that it's just a normal modernized fighting game. Like all the fighting games of the new era are getting watered down to attract new players. That puts more money in their pockets and it allows the games to live longer. Even though it might be annoying at first, I get that. It's just the future. And like that's the point of my last video. I was like, people need to get used to the future, and some people got butthurt about that. It doesn't matter how you feel. This is the future we're in. Every fighting game is becoming like this, and you could be mad all you want, but and one of the top comments was like, he was like, oh, I don't think it's right for you to say, either get mad. I don't think it's right for you to say that, oh, we need to adjust to it or move on. Like I said, it doesn't matter how I feel or you feel about the future of fighting games. The fact is, we are in an aggressive future. Like, that's what we're in. We're all aggression, easier to play, watered down mechanics. That's the future. And I get that y'all might be hurt that y'all precious Tekken became part of the future, but it worked, didn't it? Look at their wallets. Look at how well Tekken 8 sold. This is the future. Doesn't matter if you like it or not. You got to accept it. Don't matter if I like it or not, even though I like it, because I don't think there's anything wrong with getting new players into the game. And I'm kind of used to it now because I've played a lot of fighting games and I'm used to the future. So, either I naturally liked it or I learned to like it. I don't remember, but it doesn't matter how I feel, how you feel, how anybody feels. They're not changing this aggressive future because it's working. Look how well the game sold, and look how well the game is still doing. Yes, people might be a little irritated right now, but that's just the nature of all fighting games when it comes to the beginning. They're still, people might whine, but they're still gonna get on, log them hours in, and play every day. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And Nick Ops out.